in this video we'll take a look at another example of solving equation by completing the square. In this example, our equation is x squared minus 6x equals 13. Let's get into it. Here we have our equation. First thing, before completing the square, we want to make sure that the coefficient of x squared, so the number in front of x squared, is 1. If there's no number in front of it, that means it is 1. We just don't write it. And we also want to make sure that the constant is on the other side. Constant meaning the number without the x attached to it. So 13 is on the other side and the coefficient of x squared is 1. Therefore, we can proceed to completing the square. How do we complete the square? We'll take a look at the number in front of x. So in this case, it's -6. What we're going to do, we're going to take that number, -6. We're going to divide it by 2 and then square it. So the steps are always the same. Take the number in front of x, always divide it by 2 and then square it. So in this case, -6 divided by 2, that's -3, and now we square it. -3 times -3 is +9. Negative number times negative number is a positive number. So we have 9. What do we do with this 9? Well, let's write the equation again. That's the same equation that we have here. The only difference is I put plus an empty space on the left-hand side and plus an empty space on the right-hand side. And this is where we put the 9. Here and here as well. Remember, whatever we do on the left, we must do the same thing on the right because of the equal sign here. If we change the left-hand side, we must change the right-hand side in order for the equal sign to hold. Now we can go ahead and factor the left-hand side. How do we factor the left-hand side? We're going to take a look at 9. We're going to look for 2 factors of 9 that will sum up to -6. That means we are looking for 2 numbers when multiplied together will give us +9, but when we add them together, we get -6. And those numbers are -3 and -3. -3 times -3 is +9, and -3 plus -3 is -6. So the left-hand side is going to be factored the following way. X minus 3 times x minus 3. On the right-hand side, we'll just add these 2 numbers together. So on the left-hand side, we have x minus 3 squared. It's the same thing as x minus 3 times x minus 3. And on the right-hand side, we get 22. 13 plus 9 is 22. Now we want to solve for x, but we do have this square here, so we want to get rid of that. How do we do that? By taking the square root of both sides. Why are we taking the square root? Notice here when we don't have a number here, that means the number is 2. We just don't write it. Now this 2 matches this 2, so what we get after simplifying the left-hand side is x minus 3. That's all we're going to get. On the right-hand side, we have square root of 22 and then plus or minus in front of it. Why do we have plus or minus in front? And to explain this, let's take a look at a simple example. Let's say we have x squared equals 25. This says what number squared equals 25? Well, 5 squared is 25, but -5 squared is also 25 because -5 times -5 is +25. So this is why we have plus or minus on the right-hand side. Now we can go ahead with simplifying. On the left-hand side, we just get x minus 3. and on the right hand side we get plus or minus square root of 22. Because we have plus or minus on the right hand side, we're going to split this into two equations. X minus 3 equals positive square root of 22, and x minus 3 equals negative square root of 22. And now we solve each of these. So to solve this, we just add 3 to both sides. So we add 3 to the left-hand side and to the right-hand side. And the same thing for this one. We add 3 to the left-hand side and also to the right-hand side. So we get the following. X equals 3 plus radical 22, and x equals 3 minus radical 22. And those are the answers. Make sure you subscribe for more.